My niece was ashamed of me for being a cleaner on the train, until today she found out the truth about me. My name is Amara Lewis, and at 58 my life feels like a tunnel I carved long ago. Dark, quiet, and forgotten. I live in a small apartment where dusty blueprints gather in corners like ghosts of my past. Every morning, I brew my coffee strong, black as the nights I spent sketching Metro Line A, the project that defined me. I was its chief architect, back when I was young and believed devotion meant everything. I built paths for cities to breathe, for people to connect. But now, I'm just the retired subway cleaner, invisible to the world. I slip onto the trains each day, always the last car, watching passengers rush by, unaware I designed the very tracks beneath them. It's my secret pride, a flicker of light in the shame of being forgotten. I sacrificed so much. In my 30s, I could have been famous, my name on plaques across stations. But I stepped back. My husband needed me steady, my daughter needed me present. So I let others take the spotlight, took humble jobs, even after he left me for someone flashier. Betrayal cuts deep, doesn't it? It's not just him. It's the years, the family, the world that sees only the worn coat I wear now, not the woman who mapped their journeys. I hold on to one thing, though, a faded paper ticket from Metro Line A's first test run, 35 years ago, my talisman, my proof. That morning, my phone buzzed on the chipped kitchen counter. I wiped my hands on my apron, heart lifting at the name on the screen. Rina, my granddaughter. Grandma? Hey, it's me. Her voice was bright, but there was a hitch, a hesitation that pricked my skin. I'm presenting my graduation project tomorrow evening. For architecture school, I feel a bit embarrassed that you used to clean trains, but I still want you to come. Please. Her words hit like a bucket of ice water. Sharp, cold, unbearable. Embarrassed. Of me? After everything? I'd raised her mother through lean years, paid for Rina's books when her parents couldn't, sat up nights listening to her dreams of building skyscrapers. And now? This? Betrayal from my own blood. My grip tightened on the phone, knuckles whitening. I wanted to shout, to demand why my sacrifices meant so little, but I swallowed it, like always. Of course, dear. I'd love to be there. Great. Just sit quietly, okay? My friends will be there. Rina's relief was palpable, but it stung worse than her words. Sit quietly. Hide. Be invisible. I hung up, staring at the faded coat by the door, its seams fraying like my patience. Those worn shoes beneath, scuffed from years walking platforms I designed. Why did I keep hiding? Because that's what I'd always done. Devoted myself to others, buried my story so they could shine. But oh, the anger bubbling now. I crossed to the drawer, fingers trembling as I pulled out that old ticket. Its edges were soft from years of handling, the ink barely legible. Metro Line A, test run, 1990, my first triumph. I turned it over, remembering the day I stood on that platform, young and fierce, arguing with engineers. This curve, it has to flow like a heartbeat, I'd said, and they listened because I was right. Now, forgotten, betrayed by time, by family who saw only the surface. I tucked the ticket into my pocket, a shield against the hurt. My mind wandered to those days, flashbacks of me at 23, hair tied back, poring over blueprints under flickering lights. "Amara, you're a genius," an engineer had said once, but I waved it off. Family first, I thought. I'd sacrificed fame for them, only to be left with this. A granddaughter ashamed of me. I slipped on the coat, glanced in the mirror. Lines on my face told stories I'd never shared. "You've drawn hundreds of tunnels," I whispered, "but none as deep as the human heart." the anger mixed with a dark humor. Embarrassed? Let's see how she feels when she learns who I really am. I stepped out, the ticket pressing against my thigh like a promise. The subway ride to her school would come tomorrow, but already I could feel the weight of it, the whispers, the judgments, the chance to set things right. I'd go to Rina's presentation, not for her friends or their approval, but for her. To show her what devotion looks like, even when it's betrayed. Because that's what I do. I build paths even through the pain. The next evening came fast. I stepped out of my apartment, coat pulled tight against the chill, worn shoes clicking on cracked sidewalk. The subway station swallowed me whole. Familiar hum of rails, that metallic tang in the air I designed for. I boarded the last car, as always, ticket clutched in my fist like a secret weapon. Doors hissed shut. Train lurched forward, carrying me toward the school, toward her. All minutes blurred into stops. People piled on, off. A businessman shoved past, briefcase clipping my arm. I shifted, silent. At the university station, I rose, gripped the pole steady, and exited into the bustling lobby. Glass walls towered, sleek lines curving like veins in a city body. My designs echoed here. Urban connectivity, stations breathing light. But now students swarmed, laptops flashing holograms of future towers, voices overlapping in excited bursts. I pushed through the crowd, shoulders brushing trendy jackets, heels clicking on polished floors. Heads turned, whispers followed like shadows. That old lady looks like a janitor. Must be lost. A girl in oversized glasses nudged her friend, both giggling behind manicured hands. I kept walking, chin up, but the words sliced, sharp, familiar, betrayal in every glance. Rina spotted me near the presentation doors. Her eyes widened, cheeks flushing pink. She darted through the throng, skirt swishing, grabbing my arm lightly. "Grandma, you made it! Quick, over here!" She tugged me toward the hall entrance, glancing back at a cluster of classmates staring openly. Her fingers dug in, urgent, pulling me past a display of student models, miniature metros glowing green. "Please?" she whispered, breath hot against my ear. "Sit in the back row. Okay? My friends are watching." Her eyes darted again, pleading. I nodded once, calm, unfazed, pulled my arm free gently. "Whatever makes you comfortable, dear." She exhaled, forced a smile, then spun away, heels clicking fast toward the front podium. I moved into the hall alone, weaving between rows of folding chairs. Air thick with coffee steam, projector hum. I claimed a corner seat, last row, shadows cloaking me. Folded my hands in my lap, ticket pressing sharp against my thigh. Dignity held me straight, even as the hurt twisted inside. Rina fidgeted up front now, alone at the podium. Fingers flew over her laptop, adjusting slides with quick taps. The green metro line flashed on screen. Bold green letters, images of curving tracks, leafy stations. My tracks. She smoothed her hair, paced 2 steps left, then right, rehearsing under her breath. Connecting people, urban memories. Nearby, her friends clustered 3 rows ahead. 2 girls, 1 boy. Hair slicked, phones out. They leaned in, chatting loud. "Rina's gonna kill it. Those eco curves, total trend now." The boy nodded, scrolling. "Yeah, forget the old stuff. Youth innovation only." Laughter rippled. Generational gap yawned wide. They dismissed roots without a thought. I shifted in my seat, fabric scraping softly. A soft chuckle escaped me, dark, ironic, overheard praise for innovative youth designs while my blueprint sat in her slides, uncredited. Clutching the ticket tighter, I felt its edges bite my palm. Strength surged through the pain. Anonymous life had taught me patience, but tonight, Limits neared. More people filed in, jurors in crisp suits, carrying briefcases, nodding at each other. Dr. Merton entered last, tall frame cutting through, glasses perched low. He scanned the room, settled at the panel table, papers shuffling. Hall filled fast, chairs creaking, bags thumping down, murmurs rising like steam. Lights dimmed slightly, spotlight hitting the podium. Rina froze mid-fidget, hands clasping tight. Tension coiled, air electric, eyes flicked to her, to the screen, waiting. My heart pounded steady, ticket warm now in my grip. Revelations brewed, just beyond the next slide click. The stage was set, and I was ready. The hall hummed with anticipation. Spotlights glared down on Rina at the podium, her silhouette sharp against the glowing screen. She adjusted her stance, heels clicking once on the hardwood, and gripped the remote with both hands. A quick breath steadied her, then she clicked. The title slide flared bright. The green metro line, connecting people and urban memories. Green-tinted tracks curved across the screen, stations blooming with vines, solar panels catching animated sunlight. My heart caught in my throat. Those curves, the flow of the lines, they were mine. Metro Line A, reborn in her hands, uncredited. I shifted in my back row seat, ticket biting into my palm, pride and pain tangling inside. Rina's voice cut through, clear and rising. Good evening, everyone. This project redefines urban transport. Sustainable, rooted in our city's past, built for its future. She swept an arm toward the screen, slides flipping to a 3D render. A station pulsing with commuters, greenery woven into concrete. The audience leaned forward, students scribbling, jurors nodding. Dr. Merton sat center at the panel table, glasses low on his nose, pen tapping his notepad in a steady rhythm. Flanking him, the woman juror in a sharp blazer jotted notes furiously. The man beside her crossed his arms, head tilting in approval. She clicked again, showing a layout grid, entry points, platform arcs, seamless transfers. My designs dressed in eco-chic. Sustainability isn't just panels or plants, she said, pacing 3 steps left. It's weaving memories into every station, linking people to their city's heart. Her words echoed my old pitch from 35 years ago, almost verbatim. I pressed my lips tight, amusement flickering through the sting. She had no idea, did she? The girl was brilliant, but blind to her roots. The woman juror raised a pen, nodding. Bold concept, very forward-thinking. Rina's chest lifted, confidence surging. She clicked to a graph. Emission cuts, community impact stats, her voice growing bolder. This reduces carbon by 20% while preserving urban identity. Scattered claps broke out, students in front whispering excitedly. She's killing it, one said, phone glowing as she typed. Rina caught the praise, her smile widening, eyes darting briefly to me in the shadows. Guilt flashed there, quick, then gone. She turned back, basking. Dr. Merton scribbled something, his face stern but engaged. The man juror leaned forward, voice booming across the hall. This is what the city needs, young minds breaking old molds. More nods, more claps. A student 2 rows ahead, hair slicked back, muttered to his friend, "Forget the outdated stuff. This is next level." Laughter followed, sharp and careless, outdated. The word landed like a stone in my chest. My fingers tightened on the ticket, its edges cutting deeper. They dismissed my generation, my work, without a thought. Rina clicked to a new slide, a rotating 3D model of a station hub, glass domes over green terraces. Every detail here is original, she said, voice steady now, ego blooming under the spotlight. I designed this to connect people like never before. My breath hitched. Original. The hub's core matched my old sketches down to the platform angles. I leaned back, chair creaking softly, a dark chuckle threatening to escape. Pride in her skill warred with the ache of her ignorance. Betrayal, again, wrapped in her triumph. Mid-presentation, a student aide hurried down my aisle, balancing a tray of coffee cups. His foot caught on a bag strap. Cups tipped, hot coffee splashing across the carpet near my shoes. Steam curled up, sharp and bitter. He froze, eyes locking on me. "Oh, crap. Ma'am, could you clean that up? You look like you, know how." Snickers rippled nearby, students covering mouths. Humiliation burned, hot and familiar, but I stood smoothly, grabbing a stack of napkins from a side table, kneeled, wiping the spill with quick, practiced strokes. "No trouble," I said calmly, voice barely audible. The aide flushed red, stammering thanks as he backed away. Rina paused mid-sentence, eyes widening at the commotion. Her hand hovered over the remote, slide frozen on a budget chart. She glanced at me, mortified then quick to recover. As I was saying, cost efficiency is key. She clicked forward, voice regaining its polish. The audience refocused, but the moment lingered in my gut, mistaken for staff again. Judged by my coat, my age, my silence, I sat back down, napkins crumpled in my hand, and tucked the ticket deeper into my pocket. Society's quick assumptions, they cut as deep as family's shame. She powered through, slides flipping faster now, timelines, impact projections, community hubs. This isn't just a metro, it's a living system. The room erupted in applause, chairs shifting as people clapped harder. Rina stood taller, gesturing grandly, soaking it in. Dr. Merton stopped tapping his pen, leaning forward with a faint smile. The woman juror scribbled more, whispering to the man beside her. They were hooked, praising her fresh vision without questioning its roots. Students in front kept murmuring, "She's gonna win the grant for sure," one said, elbowing her friend. "Old designs can't touch this." Irony twisted in me like a rusted bolt. Old designs? They were cheering my work, repackaged by my granddaughter's ambition. I clutched the ticket tighter, its weight grounding me. Silence held my tongue, but my pulse raced. Anger, yes, but also a strange, bitter pride. She was good. Too good to need to hide me. Rina glanced back once more, her smile faltering as our eyes met. Guilt again, sharper now, but she turned away fast, clicking to her final slide, a sweeping cityscape, her metro glowing green across it. "This is the future. My vision for us all." Applause thundered, drowning the room. She bowed slightly, hair falling forward, then straightened with a triumphant grin. Dr. Merton raised a hand, signaling the end of her talk. The screen faded to a Q&A prompt. Jurors shuffled papers, preparing questions. Rina stepped back, hands clasped, radiating confidence. But tension coiled tighter in the air, electric, waiting to spark. My fingers traced the ticket's edges, heart steady despite the storm inside. The stage was set for truth to break through. And I was still here, waiting. The applause faded, leaving a restless hum in the hall. Rina stood at the podium, hands clasped tight, her smile holding but brittle. The screen behind her glowed with her final slide, a cityscape of green tracks weaving through skyscrapers. She shifted her weight, heels scraping softly as Dr. Merton leaned forward, glasses glinting under the spotlight. He cleared his throat, voice cutting through the quiet. "Miss Lewis, strong presentation, but I must ask, this design? It's strikingly similar to Metro Line A from decades ago. Where did you get your inspiration?" Rina's fingers twitched on the remote. She blinked fast, smile flickering, then straightened with a quick toss of her hair. "Well, From an international project I studied. I just improved it with green elements." Her voice sped up, a touch too eager. I pressed my lips together, ticket digging into my palm. Improved it? My work, my curves, my heartbeat of a city, claimed so casually. My chest tightened, anger simmering beneath the calm. Betrayal stung sharper now, not just from her shame, but from this theft of my legacy. The woman juror tilted her head, pen poised. "Interesting. The layout's efficiency is uncanny, almost like you had the original blueprints." A few students chuckled, thinking it a compliment. Rina forced a laugh, nodding quickly. "Just good research, I guess." She clicked the remote unnecessarily, screen blanking for a second before resetting. Her eyes darted to me, brief, panicked, then back to the panel. Guilt, clear as day, but she buried it under that polished smile. The man juror leaned back, arms crossing tighter. "Exactly what we need. Young innovators like you, not the stagnant old guard." Applause rippled again, lighter but sharp. Students in front nodded vigorously, one whispering, "She's rewriting the game!" Outdated, stagnant, the words landed like punches, each one bruising deeper. My fingers curled around the ticket, its edges nearly tearing. They praised her while dismissing me, the foundation beneath their feet. Dr. Merton raised a hand, silencing the claps. His gaze softened, nostalgic. "Metro line, eh? I interned on that project, you know. Shame the chief architect passed away years ago. Brilliant mind." He sighed, flipping a page in his notepad. The room nodded solemnly, a few jurors murmuring agreement. "Passed away?" A soft chuckle broke free from my throat, quiet, but enough to turn a few heads nearby. I caught myself, pressing a hand to my lips, but the irony burned. "Dead?" "Not yet, Professor." Rina shifted, glancing at me again, brow furrowing at my sound. She gripped the podium edge, knuckles whitening. "Well, I built on what was out there, made it better." Her voice rose, defensive now, as if sensing the cracks forming. The woman juror scribbled something, whispering to Merton, who nodded slowly. Tension thickened, air heavy like a train slowing before a sharp turn. A student in front turned, phone glowing as he typed furiously. "She's got this locked. Old designs don't stand a chance." His friend laughed, nodding. I leaned forward slightly, chair creaking under me. My pulse quickened, anger mixing with that dark humor. They had no idea, none of them did. Rina's slides had glitched earlier, briefly flashing a note. "Inspired by anonymous sources." Anonymous, that was me, reduced to a footnote in my own granddaughter's triumph. The panel shifted gears. The woman juror raised a hand, voice sharp. "Your flow patterns are efficient, but how did you address cost overruns?" "Metro Line A had issues there." Rina hesitated, eyes flicking to her laptop. Optimized material use. Recycled steel, local sourcing." She clicked to a cost chart, numbers neatly aligned. My numbers tweaked slightly. I tilted my head, studying the screen. She'd done her homework, I'd give her that. But it was my foundation she stood on. Dr. Merton scribbled again, then looked up. "Good answers, but I keep circling back. Your core design mirrors that old project so closely. Did you access primary sources?" His tone was curious, not accusing, but it hit Rina hard. She froze, mouth opening, then closing. Just public archives, you know. I studied a lot." Her hands fumbled the remote, nearly dropping it. A few students whispered, sensing her stumble. I sat straighter, ticket warm in my grip. The room's energy shifted, jurors leaning in, students hushing, Rina's confidence cracking under scrutiny. My heart pounded, steady but fierce. The truth was close, clawing its way up. I could feel it in the air, in the way her eyes kept finding me, then fleeing. She sensed something too, didn't she? The weight of her oversight. The man juror jumped in, waving a hand. Let's move on. This is the kind of vision we need. Youth pushing boundaries. More claps, louder now, breaking the tension. Rina exhaled, shoulders relaxing, her smile returning. She glanced at me one last time, guilt, sharper now, almost pleading. But the praise pulled her back, ego swelling again. Thank you. I'm just trying to build a better future. The panel shuffled papers, preparing to wrap questions. Students clapped again, chairs shifting as they leaned forward, eager for more. My fingers traced the ticket's faded ink, memories flooding, me at 23, arguing with engineers over platform angles, demanding flow like a river. They listened because I was right. Now, my work was improved by a girl too ashamed to claim me. A student aide passed by again, collecting cups, avoiding my gaze after the coffee spill. The room buzzed louder, anticipation, admiration, ignorance. Rina stepped back from the podium, bowing slightly, ready to end her defense. Applause swelled, filling every corner. But I stayed still, ticket grounding me. The climax was coming. I could feel it, like rails aligning before a station stop. Truth doesn't stay buried forever. The questions wrapped up, applause thundering through the hall like a rushing train. Rina stepped back from the podium, bowing slightly, her face flushed with victory. Hands clapped sharp and fast, students rising, jurors nodding approval. She straightened, hair sweeping back, eyes scanning the crowd for more praise. Dr. Merton closed his notepad with a snap, leaning back in his chair. The woman juror whispered something to the man beside her, both smiling. The screen faded to black, her project title lingering in green glow. Rina's chest heaved, triumphant, as she gathered her notes in quick snatches. I felt the moment crest, like rails aligning for a perfect stop. My legs pushed me up, slow and steady, coat rustling softly. The room's noise dulled in my ears. I cleared my throat, voice cutting clear. "Professor, I'm afraid I'm not dead yet." Heads whipped around, sharp, sudden. Chairs creaked as bodies twisted. Whispers halted mid-breath. Rina froze, mid-bow, arms dropping limp, eyes widening in disbelief. Her mouth parted, no sound escaping. The hall fell into stunned silence, air thick and electric. Dr. Merton's pen clattered to the table. The woman juror gripped her armrest. Students in front gaped, phones lowering, forgotten. I stepped forward, shoes clicking deliberate on the aisle floor. One foot, then the other. Calm, unhurried. My hand dipped into my pocket, fingers closing around the yellowed ticket. Pulled it out slow, holding it high like a flag. The room's eyes locked on it. Faded paper, ink barely there. I approached the podium, weaving past frozen students, coat-brushing chairs. Rina backed a step, hand to her chest, breath catching. "This is the very first test ticket from that line," I said, voice steady, turning it for all to see. "I've kept it for 35 years." Gasps rippled out, sharp intakes of breath. A student dropped her notebook, pages fluttering. I flipped the ticket over, revealing handwritten notes in my own faded script, sketches of curves, flow notes from that first draft. The panel leaned forward, eyes squinting. Merton's face drained of color. He bolted upright, chair scraping back. "My God, Amara Lewis." His voice cracked, hands trembling as he adjusted his glasses. The woman juror covered her mouth. The man beside her muttered, "The chief architect? Alive?" Whispers exploded, names, questions, shock waves rolling through. I nodded humbly, meeting his gaze direct. "Yes, the outdated one you just mentioned." My words landed precise, no malice, just truth. Yet hundreds of engineers still speak my name with respect. Merton's shoulders slumped, face reddening. He stammered, I had no idea." The room buzzed louder now, phones lifting, cameras clicking soft. I turned to Rina then, her face pale. eyes locked on the ticket. She trembled visibly, hands shaking at her sides. I stepped closer, voice softening, but firm. "My dear, it's a shame you're ashamed of your grandmother," I said, holding her gaze, "while my legacy speaks for itself." Tears welled in her eyes, spilling quick. She shook her head, voice breaking. "Why didn't you tell me, Grandma?" I paused, ticket still raised, letting the words hang. The hall held its breath, jurors frozen, students gaping. "Because those who understand true worth don't need a name tag to prove it." My reply came wise, controlled, anger tempered into justice, satisfaction bloomed inside, empowering, not vengeful. Years of silence, sacrifice, betrayal, all crystallizing here. Rina's knees buckled slightly. She gripped the podium edge, sobs hitching. Merton rose then, striding forward with quick steps, hand extended. "Miss Lewis, Amara, this is incredible." He took the ticket gently, examining the notes. "These sketches, they're legendary. We studied them in school." The woman juror joined him, peering close. "Handwritten originals? This changes everything." They passed it back, awe in their eyes. Students murmured louder, one filming with her phone held high. Rina reached out, fingers brushing the ticket. Her voice cracked again. "Grandma, I didn't know." Tears streamed now, mascara smudging. I placed a hand on her arm, steady and forgiving. The room watched, tension peaking, shock turning to reverence. A student in front stood, clapping slow at first. Others joined, applause building hesitant, then strong. I stepped back slightly, letting the moment settle. Inner monologue raced. This was justice, clean and true. No screams, no fury, just revelation, empowering the overlooked. My heart swelled, triumphant yet calm. Betrayals of the past, husband, family, society, faded in this light. Rina wiped her eyes, hugging herself. Merton turned to the crowd, voice booming. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a legend in our midst." The applause roared fuller, chairs pushing back as people stood. Flashes popped from phones. Rina turned to me fully, arms opening tentative. I pulled her close in a quick embrace, her sobs muffled against my coat. "It's okay, dear," I whispered. "Learn from this." She nodded against my shoulder, body shaking. Merton gestured for quiet, hand raised. The crowd hushed uneven, eyes wide. He faced me direct. "Amara Lewis, please. Join us at the panel." I nodded once, stepping up with deliberate grace. Sat beside him, ticket laid on the table. The faded ink gleamed under lights, my sketches stunning them silent again. Whispers circled. She designed it all. A legend. Rina stayed at the podium, wiping tears with her sleeve. Her friends in the audience gaped, mouths open. One muttered, "That's her grandma! No way!" Satisfaction deepened, justice unfolding without a single raised voice. Empowerment coursed through me, mature and sure. This was my moment, claimed at last. The hall pulsed with energy, revelations hanging heavy. Merton cleared his throat again, ready to speak, but I sat composed, ticket between us, the truth finally free, and it felt like light at the tunnel's end. The applause crested, then crashed into silence as my words hung in the air. The hall froze, eyes wide, breaths held, chairs mid-creak. Dr. Merton stood abruptly, his chair tipping back with a clatter that echoed sharp. He extended a hand, face ashen, then flushed with regret. "Miss Lewis, Amara, I apologize profusely. This is unprecedented." His voice wavered, genuine shame cracking through his stern facade. He gestured to the empty seat beside him at the panel table. "Please, join us here. You belong at the front." I nodded once, stepping forward with measured grace, my worn shoes clicking soft on the stage steps. The ticket lay on the table now, its faded sketches drawing eyes like a magnet. Merton pulled out the chair for me, hands trembling slightly as he did. The woman juror shifted her papers aside, making space. The man beside her nodded vigorously, murmuring agreement. I sat, folding my hands calmly, inner peace settling like dawn after a storm. Empowerment lingered, triumphant, yes, but now softening into something warmer, more hopeful. Merton leaned in closer, examining the ticket again before passing it back. His eyes met mine, honest and humbled. I learned from your blueprints back then. Thank you for paving our paths. We've stood on your work without knowing. His admission came sincere, voice low, carrying the weight of years. The hall murmured softly now, whispers of awe rippling out. Students leaned forward, phones still raised but forgotten in the moment. I smiled gently, tilting my head. I only dug tunnels, I replied, voice warm and philosophical. You're the ones who build bridges. Let's honor both, past and present. My words bridged the gap, easing the tension. Merton nodded deeply, a faint smile breaking through. The woman juror clasped her hands, adding softly, Well said. Your legacy just reshaped this room. The man juror grunted approval, scribbling a final note. Rina stood nearby, still at the podium, her triumph shattered into vulnerability. Tears welled fast, spilling over as her shoulders shook. She burst forward suddenly, arms wrapping around me in a tight hug, face burying into my coat. Sobs hitched from her chest, muffled but raw. The audience watched, breaths collective and quiet. I held her close, one hand stroking her back in gentle circles. Remorse poured from her, palpable, heartbreaking. "Grandma, I'm so sorry," she whispered, voice breaking. "I was afraid my friends would laugh. But I forgot. The most respectable person was sitting right here." Her confession hung intimate, drawing soft gasps from the crowd. I pulled back slightly, cupping her face with both hands, wiping a tear with my thumb. My voice came gentle, optimistic, laced with hope. "That's all right, dear. People only laugh when they don't understand real value." I paused, letting it sink in. "Don't live for praise. Live so you'll never regret." She nodded through fresh tears, hugging me again, tighter this time. The embrace lingered, warm and mending, as the hall watched in reflective quiet. The jurors shifted then, their earlier arrogance melting into humility. The woman juror cleared her throat, voice subdued. We may have been too quick to praise without roots." She glanced at her colleagues, who nodded in quiet agreement. The man juror rubbed his chin, eyes downcast. "Youth is vital, but legacy, that's the foundation." They reflected openly now, postures softening, faces thoughtful. No more quick dismissals. Admiration replaced it, quiet and earned. A student in the third row stood suddenly, phone held high, recording the scene with steady hands. Others noticed, a few joining in, flashes popping soft, videos capturing the raw emotion. Whispers spread. "This is going viral. Total lesson in humility." The moment spread like ripples in water, phones buzzing with shares even as it unfolded. I caught glimpses. Rina's friends gaping, one mouthing "wow" to another. The recording sealed it, turning our family revelation into a broader story, one of grace over judgment. Merton turned back to the microphone, tapping it lightly to regain focus. The hall hushed uneven. "In light of this, we must reframe Miss Lewis's project." He gestured to Rina, who pulled away from our hug, wiping her eyes. "It's inspired by the legacy of Amara Lewis, chief architect of Metro Line A true collaboration across generations." Applause broke out again, slower, more reverent. Rina nodded gratefully, her smile tentative but growing. The panel scribbled adjustments, reframing her work with nods to my designs. Pride swelled in me, not for credit, but for the bridge we'd built. Spotlights dimmed slightly as the event wound down. Students began gathering bags, but many lingered, approaching the stage with hesitant steps. One young man extended a hand. "Ms. Lewis, your story, it's inspiring." I shook it warmly, smiling. Others followed, quick words of respect, eyes wide with newfound awe. Rina stood beside me, linking her arm in mine, no longer ashamed. Her friends hovered nearby, one whispering apologies to her. "We had no idea. She's a legend." I declined interviews as they trickled in, Merton offering the podium for a speech. "No need," I said gently. "I prefer my anonymous rides. Let the work speak." He respected it, nodding with a smile. Inner peace washed over me fully now, hopeful, thoughtful. Betrayals of the past felt distant, replaced by this warm resolution. Sacrifice had led here, to forgiveness and growth. As the crowd thinned, Rina squeezed my arm. "Thank you, Grandma, for everything." I patted her hand, voice philosophical. "Every tunnel leads to light, dear. We just have to walk it humbly." She nodded, eyes bright with understanding. The hall emptied slowly, echoes fading, but the lesson lingered. Optimistic, enduring, and in that peace, I felt whole. The hall emptied out, leaving only echoes and scattered coffee cups. Rina and I stood near the podium, her arm still linked with mine, her grip softer now, like she was anchoring herself to something new. The ticket rested in my pocket again, its weight lighter somehow, as if its truth had lifted a burden. Stage lights flickered off one by one, casting long shadows across the polished floor. Students lingered outside, their voices a distant hum through the glass doors, still buzzing about the revelation. I felt the air settle, calm, warm, like the quiet after a long train ride. Months passed in a blur of change. The school framed my old ticket in a sleek glass case, mounted proudly in the main hall. Its inscription gleamed under soft lights. Project by Rina Lewis. Inspired by the legacy of Amara Lewis, chief architect of Metro Line A. I walked by it once, fingers brushing the case, a smile tugging my lips. Not for the recognition, no, I'd never needed that, but for Rina, for the bridge we'd built between us. She changed, my granddaughter. Rina became the youngest lecturer in the department, her heels clicking with purpose down those same halls. She stood at podiums now, not just presenting, but teaching, her voice steady and humble. "Every design has roots," she'd say to her students, eyes bright with lessons learned. "Honor them, and you'll build stronger." She wove my stories into her lectures, tales of late nights sketching Metro Line A, of arguing curves with engineers, of building for people, not praise. Her students listened, rapt, pens scratching fast. One afternoon, she visited my apartment, carrying a portfolio under her arm. The kettle whistled as I poured tea, steam curling between us. She opened the folder, spreading new designs across my chipped kitchen table, stations, bridges, green hubs, all inspired by my work, but distinctly hers. "Grandma, these are for you. Co-created, you know. Your legacy, my vision." Her smile was wide, free of shame. I traced a blueprint's curve, heart swelling. "Beautiful, dear. You've learned well." We hugged then, long and tight, the past's betrayals fading in that warm embrace. Our bond grew stronger, rooted now in truth. Rina stopped judging by appearances, her confidence tempered with gratitude. She'd call me late at night sometimes, voice bubbling through the phone. "Grandma, you should have seen my class today. They loved your story about the test ticket. I'd laugh softly, sipping coffee, picturing her shining without hiding me. Family felt whole again, not perfect, but mended, like a track realigned after years of wear. The world shifted subtly, too. That student's video from the presentation night spread wide, shared across platforms, liked, retweeted, commented on. "This is what respect looks like," one comment read. Another, "Never judge the quiet ones. Legends hide in plain sight." People started talking more about unsung heroes, about honoring roots. It wasn't loud change, but it rippled. Small stations renaming plaques, articles digging up Metro Line A's history, my name whispered again in engineering circles. I kept riding the trains, always the last car, ticket tucked safe. Passengers chattered around me, oblivious as ever. Once I overheard two commuters, a man and a woman, discussing the metro. "Whoever designed these lines, they knew how to connect a city," he said, newspaper rustling. She nodded. "Yeah, someone unknown but brilliant." I smiled to myself, leaning back, the train's hum soothing my bones. Unknown was fine. I'd built for them, not for fame. One evening, Rina joined me on a ride, sliding into the seat beside me. She held a new ticket, freshly printed, her own design for a community line extension. She pressed it into my hand, eyes gleaming. "This one's for you, Grandma. A new start, built on your foundation." I turned it over, its ink bold and clear, and tucked it beside my old one. A new path, yes, but tied to the old. My heart warmed, full of hope. "Thank you, dear. Keep building." As the train rattled on, I gazed out the window, lights streaking past like stars. My mind wandered, introspective, confessional. I'd spent my life sacrificing, hiding my light so others could shine. Betrayals hurt, cut deep, but they didn't break me. They led here, to this, to Rina's growth, to a legacy reclaimed not with anger, but with dignity. I forgave her, not because she deserved it then, but because love builds bridges stronger than resentment. Every tunnel I built led toward light, and Rina, she'd learned to walk it without shame. I leaned toward her now, voice intimate, like sharing a secret with the world. "Dear reader, listener, whatever path you're on, walk it humbly. Not for applause, but for the truth in your heart." I paused, letting the words settle. "Honor your roots, and you'll never regret where they lead. Humility, it's the strongest architecture of the spirit." Rina squeezed my hand, nodding, her eyes reflecting the train's glow. The car slowed, brakes sighing soft. We stepped onto the platform together, her arm through mine, the city pulsing around us. My old ticket stayed close, a reminder of paths carved through pain. But now, hope led the way, thoughtful, warm, enduring. The lesson was clear, etched in every rail I'd laid, to build a new path, walk humbly on the old one, not out of failure, but to remember where you came from, and in that light, we kept moving forward. And now, my friends, I'm talking to you. Did you like my story? What city are you from? See me in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. If you loved this journey, support me with a super thanks so I can keep telling stories like this. Thank you so much for your amazing support. It means the world. I'm excited to read your comments. On screen, you'll see 2 new real-life stories I highly recommend. There are tons more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next story. With all love and respect.